Hello, this is your video tutorial on how to read and write the informational writing of guides. Our next writing assessment is going to be you're going to be writing a guide. So this is going to walk you through what a guide is, how to analyze a guide as both a reader and a writer, and then the writing process for creating your own guide. So let's talk about what a guide is. There are many different definitions of guide, as you can see listed here. But what we're going to be doing is that fourth definition there, which is a book, magazine, or an article that provides information about a particular subject. You can see on the right-hand side, there is a book, Stark's Guide, Illustrated Bermuda Guide. So those kinds of informational writing help guide or instruct people to a particular topic. Maybe it's a location, maybe it's an activity, but you're going to be creating your guide. So you're going to have to really think about what is something that you're either an expert at, or maybe it's something that you're really interested in. You've done a lot of research on your own. You've experienced a lot. So you've got a lot of information that you can share with other people. As you are reading guides, these are I want to remind you of the habits of mind that we want to have as readers and as writers. So as a reader, when you're looking at a guide, you want to think about, what do you notice in this guide? What stands out to you? What do you make of that? How do you explain what you've noticed? What evidence supports what you make of it? So what you noticed and what you thought about that, what evidence can you take from the reading, a quote or some words? And how could it be otherwise? What might some alternative perspectives be? You might not be able to answer all of those questions, but you should definitely be able to answer the majority of them. As a writer, I also want you to think about, what writer moves do you notice? As you're reading through the guide, what is something that the writer does consistently that stands out to you? What does the writing look like? If you were to describe the writing, how would you describe it? What can you learn from this professional writer? You're going to be offered a number of options for guides to read, and be aware, every one of these was paid for this writing. So these are professional writers. So what can you learn from these writers, and what style do you prefer? Each writer has their own style. So what is something that you see, a move, a pattern that is repeated that you like, that you may want to incorporate into your own writing, or you don't care for, so you definitely do not want to do that in your writing? Also, think about these three questions, both as you are reading and as you are crafting and putting your own guide together. What is the author's or the writer's purpose? Why is the writer doing this? What is the content? So, what is the information that's included, and how is it organized? And thirdly, how does the author's voice or their personality, and how does their style come through in the text? So, as you are looking at those habits of mind questions, as you're looking at the text, all of these questions kind of help you to notice what's in the writing, and you should be able to come up with some pretty good observations just using these questions. So, when we're talking about a guide, what is the purpose of a guide? Well, the purpose is to provide information about a particular subject. You, as an author, what is your purpose for the guide you are going to write? What do you want your readers to know? You need to think about that as you start planning and crafting your guide. Second, the content and the organization. Obviously, it needs to be focused on one topic. If it's a very large topic, there's going to be a lot of writing. So you might want to narrow it down to a subtopic. As you can see here, country music is a huge topic, but this person narrowed the topic down to subgenres rather than talking about every country artist, talked about different genres of country music. You want to lead with a summary of your topic. So last week we did summary writing. You're going to start your piece with a summary. If you take a look at these two guides, you'll see some examples of well-written summaries to give the readers a broad idea of the topic that is going to be covered in those guides. And thirdly, you must have logical organization of information and examples. So you want to make sure that your information is organized logically so that one idea builds upon another. Or you're going to talk about the most important thing and then the next important and next. Or perhaps you want to talk about how a movement got started. And from that first step, what was the second step? What was the third step? It really depends on what your topic is that will determine what the sequence or the organization of your writing is going to look like. There are two examples there of guides, although warning, the type of rap does include some explicit language. Thirdly, you're going to be writing with voice and style. So if you think back to that habits of mind where you're trying to find the writer's voice, their personality, as well as their style choices, you want to start developing your own style. You have a personality, you have a voice. So make sure your voice is coming through in your writing and start developing your writing style. It's kind of like a fingerprint, right? It's something that is unique to you. And as readers read more of your work, they expect to see that fingerprint that reflects who you are in your writing. Here are three ways to do that. You want to establish a connection with the reader, usually right at the beginning. You've got two examples there of taking a look at how those writers established a connection. The first one, Beginner's Guide to EDM, is a video. So it's interesting because the writer or presenter really does try to make that initial connection with her viewers. Second, you need to interpret and elaborate. That means you're going to break down the information in the simplest terms for your readers so they clearly understand. And these are two examples of where they've taken a content specific topic and they've tried to break it down into very simple, easy to understand sentences so all readers will understand. And thirdly, you need to think about your diction, also known as your word choices, and your telling details. Those are your descriptions. And there are two examples there for you of guides that give some really interesting word choices and some really vivid descriptions to help readers gain a better understanding of the topic. So, what is the writing process? Well, you're going to start at the beginning by planning and pre writing. You have to choose a topic, but again, make sure it is manageable. Something that is a large topic would take a lot to write about. Some guides are entire books. So, you're going to want to narrow it to something where you can get it done within 5 days. So once you've chosen your topic, you're going to want to make a list of what you already know about the topic. What information do you have that you can share? What do you think is the most important information? Perhaps start organizing how you're going to share your information. Is your topic something where there's one thing everybody has to know and then you can go from there? Is it a chronological guide? So you have to talk about the first event and move through time? Or is it something where it's your personal preference. If you were going to share this information, you think this is what everybody should know. And then logically organize based on your analysis of the topic. And any information you don't know, you're going to need to research so you can add that in. You don't want to leave any holes. Make sure you give your readers enough information so they can have a complete picture of the topic. Second, you're going to name your guide. That means you need to give it a title. If you go back through this Google Slides, you'll see a lot of names of guides along with the ones you'll find in Google Classroom. So it needs to be easy to understand in very simple English words, and it has to identify the content. What exactly are you presenting to your readers in this piece of writing? And you need to write a summary. We've done this, so you're going to be doing this again. But you have to think about, does your guide have a specific audience? If so, make sure that you are addressing that audience, that is very clear in your summary. Also, make sure, explain what the guide is going to help the users or the readers do. Include that in your summary. Then you'll be writing your content. These are all things you need to consider as you are writing your content. I'm going to ask you to take time to read through this Google slide and make sure you understand each of these points. If you used research information, you're going to want to cite your sources in your guide by including the title of the article or the website with a hyperlink so that readers can click and research on their own. In the examples that I've provided for you, you will find hyperlinks within the writing so that you yourself can do more research if you are interested. And you may want to consider adding visuals, things like images, infographics, or videos to support the content and to help your readers gain a better understanding of your topic. And again, make sure you cite your images with a hyperlink so your readers can find the information if they choose to. If you have any questions, please be sure to email me or call me. Otherwise, I'm excited for our next writing process.